you got to make sacrifices too.
Mm-hmm.
Because we want everybody. I mean, everybody wants to be successful, but to get there,
Yeah,
you got to sacrifice sometimes. It's not easy. It's not easy.
gotta have that entrepreneurial, even pretty much the independent spirit of things.
You
Like,
got to, and whether you're in the private sector or even in the nonprofit sector, I think a lot of nonprofit organizations they're I call them they're money managers, but we need people who are innovators to do things differently and change up and adapt to society. I mean, things need to be improved on, and I like to see that. Those are things that kind of get me up every morning to say, what can I do different, and what I did yesterday, how could I make it better for today? And those are the small things that keeps myself motivated.
got it. Staying in motion at all
That's it.
times.
Keep it moving.
That's
Keep it
it.
moving.
So speaking of which, what's the biggest misconception most people have about entrepreneurship these days?
I believe everybody thinks that it's, once you make a little bit of money, that you've made it. But you've got to put in, now that you make it, how are you going to stay relevant and keep there? You got to keep on, you have to keep on reinvesting what you've made into yourself to keep it going. Because sometimes, you have a great idea. People just maybe sometimes get comfortable. But for me, I think you always got to stay hungry. As an entrepreneur, you got to stay hungry because there's competition. You have an idea, somebody will see it. Hey, I can make that better, and it gets duplicated, or people try to replicate it. So, and then I said, with technology, it's so easy for people to. I would say this: with technology, you don't even have to even depend on people who you're around within your particular city. Things are international. There's people who have lost jobs because I could send certain work to be done in a certain other country,
right?
Because people are exchanging information electronically and stuff like that. So, anybody who's an entrepreneur, I say this, you got to stay hungry, you got to stay focused, and you have to have a passion for what you want to do.
I want to double down on the part where you say staying hungry. It reminds me of something Magic Johnson once said in his book, how every time he reaches a new level, or every time he has a new challenge, or every time he has a new opportunity, he looks at it from ground zero level, right?
Yeah, that's
so you look at it from, okay,
That's
I'm
it.
starting today, next year. This way you don't necessarily, you're not content with what you have, and you don't stay stagnant, rather, instead of being content.
And sometimes too, it's good that you have a coach, or we're talking about a team behind you, because here's the thing too. Sometimes there's somebody within your team who is the the one, or the person who is the high performer or super motivated, but you always need somebody behind them to, like, make sure you do this. Somebody who's a bodybuilder. Actually, I don't want to use bodybuilders because all bodybuilders take steroids now. Whatever, that's fake stuff. But the thing is, the fact that somebody's going to be there to push you and guide you and make sure you're going to do what you want to get done. Because, as I said, we live in a world where there's so many distractions, and people pull you in this direction and pull you in that direction, and sometimes you lose focus. So you got to, find strategies to keep your eyes on the prize.
Speaking of eyes on the prize, tell us about the Money Talent Show and how the idea came about.
So the Money Talent Show is going to be taking place on February 22nd over at the Oscar Peterson Concert Hall. That's Loyola Campus, Concordia University. So this is going to be our 15th anniversary celebration.
Congrats.
The Money Talent Show was an idea of myself, Ken Dog, Malik Shahid.